I know this girl. Her name is Anonymous. And Anonymous has this deceitful smile she puts on right after she puts on her makeup every Sunday before church. She attempts to make up the tsunami sin made of her soul with CoverGirl. She tries to cover up the destruction from her past before the church doors open because her stepfather is the pastor. And her mother taught her that image is everything. Often told her she is a reflection of her family, so with fear of making them look damaged, she pretends like she has it all together on the outside, but on the inside, she is a holocaust. Too rubble in war to be whole, too broken of a nation to be complete. And all her life, Christ has been their righteous government. She has been afraid to seek, but fear for family secrets being exposed. All she wishes is to be free. But she is a desperate desert at dawn. Radiant to look at, but not enough thirst in her soul for Jesus to flourish. She is in bondage, a 24-year-old girl who leads the church choir with a voice like a saint. But she is a sinner. Never knew Christ a day in her life, and sometimes she wondered what he looks like, because she never saw him in her household, let alone the rehearsed church she attends, so she pretends like she does. So ashamed to lift up that gifted voice of hers and cry out for help, so she tries to communicate through hugs, thinking if she could just squeeze the elders in her church tight enough, that their discernment would pick up the heaviness that has kept her soul grounded and prevented her prayers from reaching the heavens, hoping that somebody would look past the mascara and see that it's just a mask covering a scared little girl who was hunted by a past, a little girl who hid her fear better than she hid her blemishes, a little girl who hid a secret better than the ocean hides the mystery of the deep, a little girl who's dying to come out to look her mother in the eyes and tell her, "Mommy, it's getting harder not to look guilty because stepdaddy took my innocence at 11. And the wounds that you have taught me to cover up years ago are starting to become infected. And I'm affected by daddy every time he gets on a pulpit and preach on freedom in Christ. When years ago he watched me become a slave to his lust, and not once did he apologize for taking my virginity like it belonged to him. And now this empty void in my life is starting to fill up with hatred for you, for daddy, for the church, and for everybody God used my voice to set free. Mommy, what about me?" But every time Anonymous tries to speak, her vocal cords fill up with fear, blocking the truth from springing forth from her lips, causing her tongue to delay her delivery, and she folds back into her cocoon. Well, her wounds don't have the air to heal, and where it feels like Christ died for everybody in her church but her, and it hurts me to see how so many pastors' kids are spiritually bastard kids. How Anonymous can grow up a whole life a popular girl in a church and nobody notices her name might not be written in the Lamb's Book of Life, but just an anonymous soul, lost in the hypocrisy of her parents, not living but dying to know Christ and the pardon of her sins, longing for the day where she could lift her hands and sincere worship and not feel like rehearsal, for the day where she could lift her voice in song and sing the shackles off her feet, to dance in freedom, live for Christ, die to self. But it's hard because her true self is never shown, so she never did, and eventually parted ways with the church. But her soul is still held hostage to her past, and her bitterness towards her dad finally outgrew her big voice, and sex became the only thing that can temporarily take away her pain. So she became promiscuous, finding false salvation in one-night stands, as if between those sheets men can find and save that lost little girl under all that mascara, still broken and shattered with a heart like a brick, convinced that God forgot about her when she was 11. And even now, the forecast of her face is still confusing. Her smile is a sunny June afternoon, but it looks like rain according to her eyes. And I tell her, "Is not a day that goes by that I don't pray for you, but this poem is not just about my friend, but this poem is for every Anonymous in the world, for the ones that grew up believing that Jesus Christ's spirit was too big to fit your frame. I want you to know that Jesus knows your name. He was beat, broken, and slain for you too. He died so that you can come to him, and no matter what lies this world tell you, he's still waiting for you."